to the next lesson. Right, bye. Well, welcome back to background painting for anime using watercolor part 3. Right now, where we left off is I'm tracing the buildings onto a piece of plastic. Now, this piece of plastic is just a see-through piece of plastic. I believe it's a a projection, uh, something that you'd use for like projectors. So you would like laser print onto this paper. And since I don't have a laser printer, I just use this plastic sheets for when I'm painting and doing stuff like this. So I'm using a Sharpie marker. It's a fine tip pen. And I'm just aligning the building. And I'm just going to cut out the shape of these buildings once I trace it onto this piece of plastic. So this is a transparent sheet. And I'm going to use the cardboard with a tool, basically a knife. And I'm going to just use this cardboard so to make sure I don't cut into my desk when I'm cutting out the piece of this plastic, which is basically going to be a template. So I could use it to not paint on certain parts of the canvas. I don't have any X-Acto knives, so this is the best I had with me. It's basically just a field knife, and I'm basically just going to cut out the shape as best as I can. So if you are a minor, um, please have a parent with you when you're doing this thing, or have them do it for you, because these knives are sharp, and especially if you're using like an X-Acto knife, they are dangerously sharp, and parents should be around if you're a minor and you're doing this stuff. But just always please be careful when you're cutting anything and using sharp objects and sharp cutting tools. So as you can see how thick this paper is, it's taking a lot of force just to like cut through it. But this is one technique that you use when you don't want to paint on certain parts of your canvas, but you want to use, let's say, broad strokes, or you want to use an airbrush, or you want to use paint splatter, and you don't want to paint on a certain part of the canvas. You use this technique so you're not sacrificing whatever technique you're going to use, and you're not painting over the pieces that you don't want painted over. So use both sides of this template. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little piece and put it over the buildings. And then I'm going to tape it down with more gaffer tape. Okay, strike that idea. I'm definitely making sure that I'm putting away the knife. So I'm just checking to see like if the tape that I'm using, if it's going to peel the paper or rip the paper when I apply it to the canvas. But I came to the conclusion that the gaffer tape that I'm using won't rip off any of the paint or rip up the paper. So I'm going to use a English template to cover up everything except for the buildings and a piece of the tree. So I'm basically just going to tape down this plastic template. Now the reason that I'm doing this is because I'm going to start painting some uh, tree shadows onto this building, and I just don't want to run the risk of any paint splatter. So I am using black. I don't have a darker color really to do a highlight for both buildings, so I'm just going to use black. And I'm going to do that fanning technique again to paint on what the indication of leaves would look like. So I'm trying to imagine where the shadows would be on this building, since we are outside in this painting. The light source is everywhere. It's ambient light, and there's shadows everywhere. And I just thought this might make a nice image if I could pull it off properly. The image of the leaf shadows on these buildings. So I'm just going up and down and dabbing the canvas. I'm just letting it dry while I clean off the brush a little bit. And I'm just adding a little bit of shadow onto the buildings by the bark of the tree. So this is where this template comes into play. So see how I'm painting onto the tape, but when I peel it off, I won't be, I won't have painted onto that part of the canvas. So now I'm just carefully removing the template. And now I'm grabbing the other part of the template, the little part of the buildings, and I'm just reusing the tape. So I'm going to place it over the buildings as best as I can. And I'm just wiping off any paint that I have on my hands. And if I'm correct, this is going to be the last thing I'm going to do for this painting. I'm just going to grab a big brush, make sure the majority of the color is off of it from any the color I previously painted with. I'm going to load up the brush and see stuff like that you don't want to do. Just drop colors onto your canvas and possibly ruin your painting. So right now I'm just splattering the canvas with blue. I'm just flickering blue all over the canvas just to give it a little bit of texture. So I didn't want these blue specks onto the building, so that's why I covered them up with a little plastic template that I cut out. And I'm just cleaning off my finger. So when I touch the canvas, I'm not smearing any color onto it. Well, I guess now I'm just gonna use a little bit of yellow and just maybe paint on the ground. Maybe give the indication that there's maybe some plant life on the ground, but you can't really see it so well. And this is where that template comes into play. Like you can't, I'm not painting over those parts. Well, I guess you can't see it. So maybe this could be like, rocks or uh, plant life. Who knows? And that's pretty much it, I believe. Um, it's pretty, it's not the greatest background painting, but I'll show you how I'm going to take this into the digital domain. I'm going to scan it into my computer, and I'm going to be back with lesson 4 of background painting for anime, and I'll show you what I do with it digitally to make it make it a little bit better. Add some characters onto it and change the tone of the picture and crop it a little bit. Get more of a feel for a background. Well, that's it for this lesson. I'm just gonna basically just wrapping up and cleaning up my my area right now. So that's it for the lesson, and join us for part 4, and I'll show you what I do digitally to make this a background canvas for an anime that can be used and possibly even salvaged, since this isn't the greatest painting, but it has its use regardless. So thanks for watching. Keep painting, and I'll see you soon.